Hello, I'm Adam Sloman, General Manager of the MG Car Club UK. This is Kimber House, home of the MG Car Club. It's been our home since 1990. Today I'm going to take you guys on an exclusive tour of our home. Come on inside. So here we are now inside Kimber House, which has been the home of the MG Car Club since 1990. One of the first things that people notice when they arrive here at Kimber House is our huge collection of MG models that we have on the wall. You'll find one of nearly every single MG model ever made. One of my favourites is this rubber bumper MGB here. We had a Canadian airline pilot who had flown into Heathrow, hired a car and drove straight from London to Kimber House because he was so excited to come to Kimber House. And he owned a rubber bumper MGB Roadster just like that. And he was so excited to see a toy of his car here on display. He was desperate to buy it. But as the sign says, sorry, we're not for sale. Another thing you'll find here is our 3D model of the factory A block. Now this was made for the club and generously donated by one of our members, a chap called Roy. And it shows the scale of the factory buildings that extended beyond Kimber House behind us here. So this is the club's trophy room, and here in these cabinets you'll find trophies that date back all the way to the very beginning of the MG Car Club. Our most prestigious trophy is the Nuffield Gold Cup, which you won't find in these cabinets because it's kept locked away in a bank vault because it's made of solid gold. It was a gift from William Morris, Lord Nuffield himself, to the MG Car Club back in the 1930s. And back in the 1930s, that trophy cost around £600, which equates to about £30,000 to £40,000 today. The Gold Cup is given to the section of the club that has achieved something outstanding in that year. We fill it with beer, everyone has a sip, it gets passed around, and it gets cleaned and goes back into the bank vault. But what you will find here are some of our wonderful trophies, such as the President's Trophy, the Hanks Trophy, which is awarded to a novice competitor every year who wins a trial in their car. This particular model is made in the shape of an MG TD, one of MG's most iconic sports cars from the 1950s. So everywhere you look, there are fantastic examples of our history and our heritage that stretches back over 80 years. Now you join us here in the John Thornley Suite at Kimber House. This area of the building was added in 2010 and provides an area for members to hold social gatherings, to hold meetings, and for the club to hold the same sort of events. Every Christmas we hold a ex-factory workers reunion where those men and women that worked at the factory all the way up until 1980 come and get together, celebrate, catch up and remember old times. This area of the building is named after John Thornley, who was one of the most important people in the history of MG. John was the factory general manager and was there right up until MG closed in 1980. When the factory closed, John became president of the MG Car Club, a role he held up until he passed away in 1994. One of our most treasured possessions is this chair, which is a tribute to John. And this was given to the club in 1996 by his wife, Anne. And yeah, it's one of our most special things we have here at Kimber House. This car is an MG BGT V8. This is actually a very special car, but this is a pre-production rubber bumper V8. Now, towards the end of the MG BGT, the cars were still very, very popular in America. But American safety rules meant that the cars had to be modified in order to continue to be sold in the States. Now that meant that the chrome bumpers and those wonderful chrome grills that the early MGs were known for had to be redesigned and had to be replaced. And MG replaced it with a polyurethane soft impact front bumper, which you can see on this particular car. They also had to make changes to the ride height to make sure that if it was to be in an impact, the front of the car would hit at a certain height. It changed a lot of the characteristics of the car, but the cars still sold in very good numbers. And today, these rubber bumper cars are becoming quite sought after. So this picture shows MGs in production during the 1930s. The idea being that by filling a whole wall with a picture, it really feels that you've stepped back in time and you're looking at the factory production line. So these are MG midgets in production during the 1930s. These cars today form part of our M register, and they are tremendously well sought after, tremendously loved, and not only that, tremendously valuable. Many, many different MGs were manufactured here in Abingdon over the course of the factory's lifetime, from M MGs like this to cars like this. This is one of the final MGs manufactured here in Abingdon. This is a 1980 MG BGT limited edition. So these cars really do represent the last of the line of Abingdon MGs. The factory closed in October 1980, and for many MG fans across the world, they thought that was the end of MG. However, as we know, and as we're very happy to report, MG continued to grow and continue to be loved by millions of motoring fans across the world. Abingdon closed in 1980, but just 2 years later, MG was back with the MG Metro, a car that would be produced at the Longbridge plant in Birmingham. During the 1980s, we saw the MG Metro, MG Maestro and MG Montego, before MG returned to sports cars in the 1990s with the RV8 and the MGF. This is a wonderful example of one of the last MGs built here in Abingdon. It's finished in pewter with a matching grey interior, and I challenge you to find a better looking 1980 MG BGT. Sadly, we've reached the end of our brief tour of Kimber House as I stand here with Cecil Kimber, the father of MG, looking down on me. To my left is a very iconic image, a famous image of the factory admin block, complete with a row of freshly built MGs spilling out of the factory. That building still stands today and is right next door to Kimber House. So every MG built in Abingdon between 1929 and 1980 drove past our front door. You can still do those original factory test routes, so I would love to welcome you all to Kimber House. Come and see what we've got. This video is just a glimpse of our amazing collection, and we're waiting to welcome you to Kimber House. I'm Adam Sloman, the General Manager of the MG Car Club, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.